Welcome to the Highlight Spiel. This is the first week of Season 2 for us. I'm Fletch.
I'm James.
Cruz is no longer with us. He moved to Florida, working on a new webcast called Country Roads Webcast. If you haven't already checked it out, give it a check out. All right, well, let's just dive right into it. We're going to preview Week 1. First, we're going to talk about the games of the week. First, Saturday, September 1st at 12:30, we got Maryland playing number 23 Texas in Landover, Maryland at the Washington Redskins Stadium. Me, personally, I'm going with Maryland. I think Maryland's going to win it just for the simple fact Texas has too many quarterback questions surrounding them, and Maryland beat them last year, and it's almost like a home game. It's in Maryland. So who you have?
I went with Texas. I think even though the QB questions are hard to answer, I feel like they're going to pull it together and they're going to get things going and pick up where they left off last year in a winning direction. I think they got this game.
Okay. That's a good choice. All right. Second, Saturday, September 1st at 3:30, Tennessee plays number 17, West Virginia, in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Carolina Panther Stadium. Me, personally, I'm going to go with West Virginia. It's a lot me saying that, but I just don't think Tennessee has the firepower to keep up with West Virginia. West Virginia's offense is way too strong. What about you?
I agree 100% with you. I think West Virginia's going to go out there and show all that offensive weapons. I mean, they got the best receivers in the country. They're just going to go out there, and Tennessee ain't going to be able to keep up with the firepower.
All right. Third, we got also on Saturday, September 1st at 3:30, we got number 6, Washington playing number 9, Auburn, in Atlanta, Georgia at the Atlanta Falcons Stadium. I was iffy on this game. I went with Washington. They have Browning. He's been there for 3 years.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a quarterback battle, but all in all, Washington had a better year last year, and they got some returning players on defense, so I think the Huskies pull it out. Who you have?
I went with Auburn. I like Jake Browning a lot. I think he's a great quarterback. I think Auburn's going to keep up with them and show them an edge on defense. And I think the defense is what's going to win it for Auburn.
Okay.
Next, Saturday, September 1st at 7:30 p.m., we have 14th Michigan traveling to South Bend, Indiana to take on 12th ranked Notre Dame. I think Michigan wins this game. I think Jim Harbaugh gets the team and their starting quarterback, Shea Patterson, fired up. And they're going to come out with a chip on their shoulder and show everybody why Michigan's going to take the next step this year.
I like that pick. I also have 14th ranked Michigan winning because of Harbaugh. Like you said, he has Michigan on the right track. And I think Shea Patterson coming in is the boost that they needed at quarterback to boost their play. And their defense is already filthy, so that ain't even questioned.
Also on Saturday, September 1st at 8 p.m., we have Louisville versus number 1 ranked Alabama. This is the season opener for the defending champs. So I feel like this is going to be a statement game for Nick Saban and Alabama, and I think this is going to be a blowout game for Nick Saban and Alabama.
I also have Alabama winning. Earlier this week, Hurts and Tungoa Valoa was named co-starters. Like you said, it's the first opening week for the national champions. I don't see it being close. Alabama's defense, too much quarterback play. I'm sure they got a nice running back. So, with that being said, Alabama.
Next, we have Sunday, September 2nd at 7:30 p.m. 8 Miami Hurricanes versus 25 LSU in Arlington, Texas, Cowboy Stadium. I think LSU wins the game. I'm not sold on the Hurricanes football. I don't think they're necessarily back. They did have a great year last year, but the ACC is also kind of weak. So besides Clemson, I don't really see a dominant pack. So I feel like LSU is going to give them a big run for their money and win it close.
I went with Miami. They're returning a slew of players on offense and defense. And with that being said, I feel like that's just going to be too much for LSU, who's just rounding out the top 25. And for an SC team that's supposed to be that good, that ain't that good. And next up, on Monday, September 3rd at 8 p.m., my boys, number 20 Virginia Tech, travel to Tallahassee to take on number 19th ranked Florida State. I'm gonna go with, I'm being biased when I pick Virginia Tech. Last year on September 3rd, Josh Jackson played West Virginia, and he showed poise and was real calm, under pressure, got us the win. And I think, granted, that wasn't on the road, a true road game. This one is, but I still think he'll still be calm, poised under pressure, get us that win. And also Florida State quarterback, they named Francois the starter. He's coming off an injury last year. I think he's gonna be rusty. Who you have?
I think it's going to be Florida State. I think Florida State, just because of, honestly, home field advantage. I feel like if it was in VT, I feel like VT would have won this, because this is an ACC matchup. And home field advantage means a lot. And plus, I think Florida State has a better defense than y'all. Next up, mine and Fletch's thing we've been ready to get into, upset alerts. How do you feel about it?
Who I have on upset alert this week, I'm gonna go with number 7 Oklahoma. They play Florida Atlantic this week. A year removed without having Baker Mayfield. I'm anxious to see what the quarterback questions is going to be, if they're answered or not. And Lane Kiffin, he had Florida Atlantic at 11-3 last year. Granted, they're not a powerhouse team at all, but you've seen what Lane Kiffin can do at Alabama offensively, so maybe he can pull the upset with them. Who you got?
Oregon State versus Ohio State. With all the controversy surrounding Ohio State, I want to see if they're focused with everything going on. I want to know if they're going to go out there with a poise to show that they're the 5th-ranked team, or if they're going to go out there with their heads in their asses thinking about everything that's going on and get distracted. Even with Urban Meyer last year, we lost to Iowa in a bad way, and I couldn't put it past Oregon State to steal a win from us early off.
That's a good one. Could possibly happen. All right. The next topic, we're going to talk about our X Factors of the week. Who you going with?
My X Factor is Jim Harbaugh. He hasn't really got to the next level since coming back to college football. And this year he has Shea Patterson at QB from Ole Miss. And I feel like as long as their bond and then the rest of the team's bond can grow, I think Michigan can go very far. And Harbaugh can get from the middle of the pack to maybe the top 7 of the pack.
Good one. I'm going to go with Jarrett Stidham from Auburn, the quarterback. Even though I have Washington winning the game, I think Jarrett Stidham, if he can control the offense, control the flow and the tempo of the game, and put points on Washington's defense, no-brainer, he'll be the X Factor. He's the only way that they can prevail against Washington.
I like that.
And now we're going to talk about our Heisman Watch, who our top 5 players to begin this season on the Heisman list is. My number 5, I got Jonathan Taylor, the running back from Wisconsin. He broke Adrian Peterson's freshman record. He had 1,977 rushing yards last year. Granted, he had 8 fumbles. He lost 6 of them. They returned all their offensive line. So with him running back, I think he'll have a good shot at being on the Heisman. What about you?
My number 5 is Ed Oliver, defensive tackle from Houston. He's dominant, strong, very smart, has a high IQ, and it also led to 16.5 tackles for loss in 2017. I have him at 5 on my list because it's very hard for a defensive player to even win the Heisman because they don't really control the aspect of the game. But to even be on the list shows you how good the man is at his position and what he does on defense.
Not bad. Number 4 on my list, I got Khalil Tate. He's arguably the most exciting player to watch in college football. He got a new coach coming in with Kevin Sumlin. With Rich Rod, he didn't really throw the ball too much, but when he did throw the ball, he threw one of the best deep balls in the country. So maybe Kevin Sumlin can up his passing to a new level. So he's number 4 on mine. Who you got?
Number 4 on my list, I have Will Grier for quarterback for West Virginia. Healthy, they probably have one of the best offenses in the country. So on top of probably two of the best receivers in the country. So I predict him putting up big numbers for the year. Before he got hurt last year, I think he threw for 37 touchdowns before getting injured. And he still had, 2 or 3 games left? 3 games left, I think. So I have Will Greer at 4 on my list.
All right, third on my list, I have Will Greer. Like you said, he's had 37 touchdowns before being hurt last year against Texas. He's arguably one of the best quarterbacks returning this season in college football, and he has a nice little receiving corps around him, and I think he might can pull it out this year. Who you got?
Number 3, I got Jake Browning, QB from Washington. If he would have went into the draft in 2016, he arguably could have been a top 5 pick. I think he has great arm strength and great accuracy, and that's why I have him at number 3.
Number 2, I have Ed Oliver, a defensive tackle from Houston. The last time a defensive lineman has finished top 5 in the Heisman race was Ndamukong Suh. And it could happen with Ed Oliver. I mean, potentially could be the number 1 pick in 2019. So there you go. Who you have?
And number 2, I have Jonathan Taylor, running back for Wisconsin. The whole line's coming back. And as a true freshman, he was the 3rd best running back. He averaged 140 yards per game. Like you said, the fumbles, he's got to get a control on that. He had 8 in 2017. Only 6 were lost, though.
That's only 6. That's
only 6. I know, but it could have been all 8.
Yeah, true.
But
could have been.
Yeah, that's my number 2, Jonathan Taylor.
All right, and to wrap it up with my number 1, I'm gonna say Bryce Love. He got I don't know if he has all his returning linemen, but I'm sure he has some. He averaged over 2,000 yards last year. Same coach. He's gonna get the touches. It's his to lose. Who you have?
Bryce Love from Stanford. He was 2nd last year in voting, and coming back this year after, like you said, 2,100 yards, I feel like he's going to have a monster year. He might even do better than he did last year, as in more touchdowns and more yards. And if he could do that, I feel like he would deserve to win the Heisman. Next up is our playoff predictions.
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
How do you feel about the playoff predictions?
Number 4, I think Oklahoma's going to squeeze in. Like I said, they don't have Baker Mayfield, so the quarterback position is at question. But if they get that figured out and they don't lose no more than 2 games and win a Big 12 title, I feel like they can squeeze in and be number 4. And then number 3, I'm going to have Wisconsin. They're returning their whole starting line. They went 13-1 last year, won the Big Ten, and I feel like they could have another big year and win the Big Ten again. And then number 2, king of the ACC, Clemson. They arguably have one of the best college defensive line in college football history, along with Kelly Bryant returning, Travis Etienne, and Feaster in the backfield. There you go. Trevor Lawrence. And number 1, Alabama. Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah, it's a dominant quarterback play, dominant defense. They're going to stay up there, I think, most of the season like they did last year. What about you?
Okay, at number 4, I have Georgia. I think getting in last year, returning your starting QB that led you there, and having a majority of your players coming back. You lost some, but you have still a lot of players coming back, and with the leader as your quarterback, I feel like Georgia will get in at the number 4 spot. And number 3, I agree with you with Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin is going to have a powerhouse team this year, a lot of returners, and they're just going to make a very big splash. Number 2, I have Clemson. I think Clemson is the ACC. I think no team is going to even threaten their throne. I think Dabo has got them into the dynasty era like Nick Saban, and I feel like there will be 4 years in a row, because at number 1 I have Alabama, and like I said, hopefully 4 years in a row, Clemson and Alabama goes against each other. Alabama, Nick Saban is the greatest coach in college football active. And what he does each year, sending so many people to the NFL and then bringing it right back, And I'm excited to see it this year.
Well, that wraps our week 1 preview show up. Tune in with us. We'll be back next week for the week 2 preview and wrap up week 1. I'm Fletch.
I'm James.
This is the Highlight Spiel brought to you by Trio 4 Productions. Go listen to Cruz's new webcast, Country Roads webcast, brought to you by Trio 4 Productions as well. See you next time.